Hey y'all, it's your girl Dr. Nina, your cool auntie sister cousin that loves to teach you about ways to win at life and achieve those goals so that you can be your best in everything you desire. And today is no different. I have a question for you. Do you find yourself feeling like you're lagging behind in life, or that you're sitting on the sidelines watching others win while you're left feeling stuck? First of all, you are not behind. Secondly, you are not alone. Your girl has experienced the same things. Receipts and facts, baby. Over on this channel, I've shared with y'all the struggles and the triumphs, the ups and the downs. I want to make sure y'all don't just have a highlight reel, but a movie reel of what it takes on a real journey in order to get to where you want to go. This really came to mind because a lot of y'all asked me about how to get career success, to get successful in your fitness goals, or to even get a good network behind you. And last week I hit a major milestone, and my husband threw a wonderful party for me for celebrating my 40th birthday. And you know what's so pivotal about that is so many things happen in an order that I didn't always think would happen for me. And they were things that I desired. And some of the things I thought I desired, I didn't get. And I'm glad I didn't, because the things that I did are so much better. I had to reframe my mindset. You know, I've been able to lose over 100 pounds, keep it off for years. Not only that, I can look back and see that my career pursuits were not in vain. I did all the things that I wanted to do, all the certifications, all of the goals there, and building networks with friends and family, and then meeting and marrying my husband later on in life, who was worthy of me and who I was worthy of. And now we have a baby brewing. I'm 7 months pregnant at the age of 40 and healthy. Baby, none of that could have happened if I hadn't have reframed my life and learned that I could not be in a race with other people that were not even running on the same track, okay? I had to realize that this life is for me. And a lot of times that takes waiting, it takes strategizing and coming up with what you need. So I need to hear from you. What are some of the things that you're working on that you feel like you're struggling with? What do you feel behind in? And maybe we as a community can continue to help you grow in those comments and give you some words of encouragement. Further, click like on this video. It's free 99. It's going to keep me and all this wisdom here to give to you and help you to continue on your journey. Now let's get into this video. So before I get into the ways that I changed my mindset with this, let's talk about the reasons why you're not behind, okay? I'm going to say it again. Life is not a race. It's a journey. You have to take your time getting to what you want, and nothing that comes fast lasts long. Remember that everyone has their own timeline. And just because someone reached their goals before you did, it doesn't mean that you're behind. It means that you're on a different path. Yours might be a little bit longer for this, but theirs might be a little bit longer for something else they're looking to get. Then I want you to remember that success is subjective. A lot of us like to define success based on what we see on TV from stars and from other people, but you can't rest your mind on what other people can get and what they can do. You have to define what it is for you. What does it mean for you to be successful? For me, that's stability. I like to be stable. I like for life to feel like, mostly mundane, with those ups that hit and sometimes those downs, but because I'm stable, I'm able to handle them. So define that for you. And the next thing is to remember it's okay to take your time. A lot of us want to rush into things. A lot of us want to do things quickly, but what we realize is that we make a lot of mistakes when we do that. And there are often mistakes that in life we cannot take back. I want you to be able to ride this ride and get the benefits from it. Yes, mistakes will be made, but we certainly don't want those ones that will keep us out for the count. You have to make sure that you're taking your time so that you can ease into this thing and get to the things that you want, even slowly. So now, y'all, it's time to build that foundation and get into the good stuff, okay? How can we stop this feeling of feeling behind in life? I got you. One of the major things I've had to learn to do is take stock of what I've accomplished and stop idolizing what I haven't. The world will have you thinking, society will have you thinking that you have to have this by a certain age or that by a certain age. You have to have a career and have it be full. And then also you got to meet and marry somebody. And then you got to have a kid. And then you got to have this. Look, when I stopped abiding by all that foolishness, I started winning. I had to realize that everybody's path is unique. All of us have unique people that we will meet in the mix, situations that will occur, opportunities that we'll be presented with. And those are not going to always happen linearly. And those are not going to always happen for everyone. And when you start to take time to redefine and think about, what have I been good at? What have I loved? What have I adored before I start focusing on what the world says I need to have? I can be more successful if I focus on that and look at that and stop idolizing the things that I might not even want. I told y'all before, I was not younger on one of those people that was like, like, I gotta get married. I gotta have a baby. You know why? Because I'm adopted. My path to all those things were a bit different from other people. The way I felt about them were a bit different. My mother raised me on her own, and she did a wonderful job after adopting me at 3 months and then adopting my sister. And she took good care of us. I watched her do it. I watched her do well. And I wanted for me to have that same level of independence, but to also figure out my way in the world and allow that to build networks for me to be my best. So I urge you, instead of looking at other people, instead of looking at society and what it says that you should have, figure out what you're good at, what you're already achieving, what you've already been proud of. Even if it's only one thing, I don't care if it's small. That's going to help to dictate where you're going to go for the rest of your life, how you're going to pace yourself, and how you're going to build and grow and become more confident. Learning something new has also been a big part of the equation, baby. I have kept a side hustle most of my life. I learned how to braid hair young for money. I rap, sang, played the piano, classically trained on the viola, violin, and cello. That also led into me getting jobs younger on. I worked for McDonald's for 7 years, through birthday parties for McDonald's. I painted clothes for people. I've also, through school, had jobs. I worked in telemarketing and telesurveying. That didn't last long, but I also got into retail, also worked with student athletes and tutoring and facilitating. And I did adjunct teaching at a community college for years. I learned through that it's important to sharpen your skills in other areas in order to apply them later on or at that time in life. That was the same thing for YouTube. When I came to YouTube, it wasn't like it is now, but I was able to build a platform through really filming myself, editing myself, and listening to feedback. And y'all don't play with the feedback, baby, harsh and good. I learned how to take feedback and take those lemons and make lemonade in order for me to become better as a speaker, better as an educator, and in many other areas. So learning really does sharpen your skills for your future and for tomorrow, and helps you to feel like you have more to not only live for, but more to offer the world. So your confidence is boosted through things like learning a new language, learning a new instrument, doing things that really make you feel worthwhile. And I encourage you to learn. And while I've continually developed personally and professionally over the years, there have been so many things that have really helped to enhance what I've been learning, what I've enhanced over my career, and what I've been able to do even more to enlarge my territory. And that's why I love platforms like Skillshare, who is the sponsor of today's video. You may know Skillshare for classes in photography, film and video editing, and illustration, but they have a wide variety of topics, including graphic design, creative writing, animation, fine art, music and music production, productivity, web development, crafts, and more. Looking for ways to level up your skills or start a new side hustle? Skillshare has bomb classes in freelancing, entrepreneurship, marketing, social media, UI, UX, productivity, and more. There you're able to learn by doing while receiving feedback from like-minded creatives. And I don't know about y'all, but thinking about our futures can be intimidating. Let's take the pressure off by starting small. Maybe your goal is to build a personal brand style. Skillshare teachers do amazingly by taking us step by step. I know many of you are in transition or looking to switch up your career and life goals. For that, I love the course Creating Your Dream Career. Uncover and apply your creative strengths. The creator Holly is an artist and a cultural geographer. She explores so much in her lessons, from ways to look at your past in order to inform your future, for you to learn ways for you to build on what you know and what you don't. Also, how to look at your strengths and weaknesses in order to move forward in a career that you are crafting yourself. It's so powerful with all the wonderful lessons and the things that you're able to see to help you to strengthen your skills as well. And I want y'all to receive the same benefits that I do from Skillshare. The first 1,000 people to use my link down below in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Don't miss out. Now, something that helped me too was setting realistic goals and stop listening to all the noise. And when I say setting realistic goals, a lot of times we go from 0 to 100 real quick, okay? And literally that happened to me. I can remember all the times I failed at trying to lose that 100 pounds and keeping it off. What sense does that make, okay? Until I started to get to the mindset that if I'm doing better than I did last week, I'm gonna win. It wouldn't have worked, okay? I went from going into the gym and literally just going When I say just going, not working out and walking out, because I had to prove to myself that I could go and be okay with that feeling, but then working out 5 minutes, working out 10 minutes the next week for 5 days a week, just seeing what I could do to get further than I was before, then I was more realistic in my goal setting. And the noise didn't hurt so much. When people said mean things to me like, oh, well, maybe you should lose weight, or maybe you should do this, or maybe you should try this program, or maybe you should try that diet. No, baby, the noise does not need to come in. When this world starts telling you what you need to do instead of what you need to do for yourself and listening to you, you will lose. And so I had to learn that my way was going to teach me lasting effects for the future. And now even in weight gain and pregnancy, I know that I can lose the weight again. I know what I got to do, and I'm not going to be nearly as heavy as I was, but God knows that now I have the skill base because I allowed myself that time to adjust and to be more realistic in my approach. And it gives me more confidence daily. And you can have that same thing by listening to yourself. Taking risks has also been a big part of the equation for me. Like, a lot of times we are taught to not take risks, especially as women, and then women of color and Black women, because we don't have the luxury of having something to fall back on if things don't work out. So what I heard a lot of times was fearful responses. Y'all, for my career, I had to hop states in order to get to where I am, okay? At one point, I lived in Missouri, went to undergrad there, moved from there, got my master's and PhD in Oklahoma, moved from there, did my pre-doctoral experiences, moved from there, did my postdoc, as well as got my first professional position. And now I'm a full professor and clinic director, and getting and reaping the benefits of all of those decisions and all of that risk taking. You know what? There were people that told me, you don't know anybody there. You're not going to do well there. You're going to be lost there. You won't know what to do. You won't be good at anything. But I proved myself correct in my assumptions and assertions. Did I fail sometimes? Absolutely. Are there failures I would prefer others didn't know about? Absolutely. But you know what? I don't care. I'm shameless because it got me to where I am today. If I hadn't have taken those risks, I wouldn't have benefited from the rewards. And I cannot be happier for the networks I have built, the people whose paths I've crossed, some that worked out, some that did not. But the life experience has been invaluable. And I stopped feeling behind because I felt like I was a trailblazer. I felt like I had something that I was living for, something I was fighting for. And instead of me being fearful, I was willing to fight. And so really moving past and taking those risks will help you to feel like you have what it takes to achieve those goals. One of the hardest things I've had to learn to do is create a support network. And when I tell y'all that can be painful, it can be quite difficult. This is not about having a big friend group. This is about having iron that sharpens iron. This is a group that knows your worth even when you forget it. They're the ones that are able to look at you and check you when you're not doing what they absolutely have learned you are setting out to do, when you're not on the path that you should be in order to get to your goals. Now, a lot of you have asked me, how did I build relationships with mentors? Because I thought of it more like this: how can I help them as opposed to how they can help me? Because if I'm helping them, I'm naturally going to pick up from their skills. I'm actually going to grow, and I'm probably going to learn more about what they're doing, their hustle and their grind. So even one of my best mentors to date, I asked, could I come to her office hours? Could I help her with something? You know what that developed into? Not only a friendship, but it developed into me being able to learn from her skill set while also building my skills through helping her with the things that she was doing. You see, a lot of the things she was doing was what I aspired to do, and I became even better at the things because I was spending so much time with her, soaking up her intelligence and her wisdom, while also giving and offering my own brute spirit and power and my strength and energy in order to help her to achieve certain goals. So when you think in terms of mentoring or building a support network, it's not always about what someone can supply you with. They will naturally supply you if they're already at a level that you aspire to, but it's also what you can bring to the table that they can help to enhance along the way. So start to think of mentorship in a way of, how can I help this person that I aspire to be like, or I aspire to learn more from, so that I'm able to be even better on my path. Another thing I had to stop doing was comparing myself to others. And I've mentioned this several times before, but it's so easy to fall into. The reason why I stopped doing that was because I didn't know what tools a person was given before I had even come along, what opportunities they had access to that I didn't. You see, sometimes we envy things that we would never even put ourselves in those positions to be accessible to those those things. What I mean is sometimes we look at someone else and see how far they've gotten and we say we want that, but do we even want what it takes to get there? Do we even want that path to be our very own? So what I had to learn was, instead of comparing myself to others, I had to focus on my own goals and my own progress and my own track. That way I was running my own race and I didn't feel like I was behind someone else and didn't have access to the very things that they did. The reason why, honestly, I feel that I've been successful is because I stopped looking at the time it took somebody else to get somewhere. I stopped looking at what people they had access to or just the good points. I had to focus on what I was doing, and maybe if I love the things they were doing, take note of those things, but see how they fit on my own racetrack in order for me to complete the goal the way I needed to. Not the way they did and not in the timing that they did, because things will never work out the same way for you. So keep your mind set on what you want while watching so that you can know what you want to develop into and maybe where you want to grow and enhance and change, but not because you're comparing another person's journey to your own. In all of these situations, self-care is essential, not because you just need to wash your face or take good showers or do any of that or get your nails done. No, you need to take time for you. Self-care is even just sitting back, reading something for leisure, or even building upon your skills during a time where it's not necessarily warranted or that you have to. When I started really engaging into self-care, it built itself into many other things. It helped me feel better about myself, more prepared, more refreshed. And it also allowed me to look forward to the new things that I was embarking on so that I didn't get burnt out. So self-care, working out, taking care of your body, taking care of your health, making sure you're engaging in these networking experiences, doing other things that you define as self-care is what's going to be necessary to sustain you in this journey. It's also essential to take time out to reflect. You know, I think a lot of times I felt behind in my life because I wasn't taking time to give credence to the things that I had actually learned along the way. Let me tell y'all, even failed relationships need to be reflected upon. And what I mean by that is, you know, sometimes we get out of a relationship or a friendship that went wrong and we don't reflect on, you know, maybe what we did right in the situation, and we only reflect on how it ended. And instead of us giving credence to the fact that we were able to step away from something that didn't work for us, or we didn't give any respect to the fact that we stood for our boundaries finally after a long period of time, we're not able to take triumph in that, and we only focus on the failure. So when you take time to reflect on anything that has happened for you, try to dissect what's good and what's bad. Like I said, my husband at this recent birthday party he threw me, he talked about how something he's learned from me is taking lemons and making lemonade. And I am truly a person that not only looks at the weaknesses of a situation, but the strengths. And even in my marriage, even in finding or being found by my husband, I will say this: if it wasn't for the failures I encountered and me learning from them, I would not be the wife that I am today to him, and I wouldn't be able to accept his love as a husband that he is to me. And I think that a lot of relationships can be looked at that way. Even in friendships, there are friendships that have ended for me that I was very sad about, but they made room for growth in relationships that needed to thrive. And so I think sometimes we have to look back and reflect so that we can see the strength even in failure. Another thing I truly had to learn to do was believe in myself. A lot of us say we believe in ourselves, but we don't. We don't. Click like if you've ever said you believe in yourself and you really like, girl, bye. And I'm not saying that for us to feel down on ourselves. Sometimes when we take time to have inventory and remind ourselves of how far we've come and what we've encountered and how we've done that. Like for instance, when I told you all city jumping or state hopping, when I think back to all of that, I'm able to say to myself, I'm able to face a lot of, I've been able to pick up and move, and not for bad reasons, for reasons that would increase and enlarge my territory. And I was able to be successful in that. In my weight loss, I lost over 100 pounds and I stood that test even when it was difficult. That means I can do most anything and keep pushing even when failure arrives. And when I'm not thriving, I can figure out the next way to do that. So you must Find the strength to believe in yourself. Find the strength to support yourself. Find the strength to push yourself. It is worth it every single time. So I hope today's video has been beneficial for you. And I want you to remember, you are not behind in life. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Even when you feel behind, remind yourself that you have encountered and done much that maybe you haven't given yourself credit for. Make sure that you comment, share this video with someone who can use it, and subscribe. And don't forget to check out Skillshare, because the first 1,000 people using my link below are going to get that first month free. Okay, that's worth every penny. So go ahead and try it out, and also make sure that you share this video with someone who can use it. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. Beautiful brown baby doll. Peace.